All right. Everyone
All
okay?
right. I'm recording.
Yep. All good? G-Man, you in?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is
That's
where
excellent.
the music will come. Welcome to this episode of the Critical Mass Podcast. I'm your host, Sleeve Monkey.
I'm Pilgrim.
I'm Doodle.
And G-Man.
Yeah, we're all here, gathered again. How's everyone doing today?
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
Pumped.
Doodle, I heard you had a misadventure with jalapenos last night. Is that true?
Oh yeah. No, I mean it happens, you know.
Well, what?
Like
what-
my mouth can handle them, but my stomach can't. So
Oh, I see.
yeah.
The mouth is willing, but the stomach is weak.
But the flesh is weak and spongy.
It is now.
That's too bad. What were you having? Was it like Mexican food?
No, so it's like fucking cheesy fries with jalapenos. Oh, it's the best shit.
Max,
Cheesy
right?
fries with jalapenos.
Max.
Oh,
That's nice.
Absolutely.
It's
Swedish
worth
fast
it.
food.
It's worth it.
It is. It's worth the pain and suffering. What's new with you, dog?
Oh man, not much really. I tried to play Anthem again this morning. I booted that shit up, and it is literally unplayable. Unfortunately, today.
In what sense?
The just server timeouts, endless rubber banding, constant matchmaking that never actually connects, loading screens, infinite loading screens. So yeah, Anthem, it was unfortunately unplayable. But what I did manage to do was interact a bit more with some of the kind of narrative elements, some of the dialogue, some of the some of the
Thank God you
NPC
did that.
some of the NPC encounters, and I'm pleased to tell you that actually it's even more naff than we thought it was at first view.
The voice acting in that game is the worst of any game I have ever played.
That's
I really
That's
think
going-
it's that bad, you know.
That's going too
so
far.
bad.
That's really.
Do you know what it
So-
sounds like? It sounds like when companies do like really cheesy gameplay demos and they get two people to play, and they're basically like the Anthem gameplay demos were. Like
oh,
they
do you know
don't
what it
talk.
reminds me of? Actually, now that you say that, it reminds me of those not the Anthem gameplay demos, the Division. Do you remember when they had like pretend people
Oh
playing
yeah,
the Division?
I know the one you're talking
That's
about.
So bad.
But it's like, come on, buddy, I'm down here. Well, I'll bring my lightning gun with the +2 attachment. That's great. Where did you find that? I defeated the boss in the last area. Well done. It's like, what the fuck? Like, no one talks like that. But that's what the NPCs sound like.
They were pretty bad.
Okay, it was a bit like that, but it
All right,
wasn't
listen,
as bad.
we're
as that
jumping
one.
ahead of the gun. I'm going to have to put some kind of music interlude here because what we should be doing now
No, not
is...
the music.
No, it's coming. Here it comes.
It's swallowing me. It's swallowing me. Oh, phew, I'm glad we're out the other side of that music.
Yeah, we survived, man. It's scary.
That was
in
an intense
in
one. It's a good
that music
some
tunnel. It's
sick
scary.
beats. Yeah.
So what we should be talking about is the news. The news.
Yes. Can I start with a personal piece of news?
Please do.
I bought Fallout 76 just to try it because I thought, no way is it as bad as everyone said it is.
No, not only that. You were trying to get all of us to buy it, and you were like, "Come on, it'll be fun if we all play it."
Well, in the end, I bought it, and I can tell you, it is as bad as anyone said, and in fact, it's probably worse than anyone said. Like it is so. It's like it's almost as bad as you can imagine, but it's worse because it was made by Bethesda. So
Yeah,
that it makes it worse. The fact that such a good company can make such trash.
I'm telling you that they have to come off the whitelist. They're no longer on our green list or whatever.
Yeah.
I told
Yeah.
you, dude.
Yeah, so what we have, I can tell our listeners that we've got a document which is upcoming game releases, and then we highlight some of them if they're from a like a developer or publisher we trust. And previously, Bethesda's been on our green list. I'm one of very few developers on it, actually.
Yeah.
But they're off
No
it.
more.
They're off
no
it,
more.
man.
No more.
They're off it.
Yeah. In fact, that actually brings us quite neatly into one of the first news pieces for today. I think I talked to you about this, Pilgrim, briefly. Fallout 76 is so. There's been a lawsuit ongoing for quite some time. It's been quieted down. I don't know if you followed this, but essentially, lawyers tried to bring a class action against Fallout 76 on behalf of consumers who claimed that the game was sold as if it were a AAA game, full price, high quality release, and that clearly it didn't live up to that standard, which I think is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, and however, because Fallout 76, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, especially not when it comes to these types of contracts, but because it's an online game, you have to sign a sort of terms and conditions before you can actually play the game, and part of the terms and conditions is that you cannot bring a class action against Bethesda. You have to go to arbitration, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, so they tried to bring a class action, but they can't, and now this law firm, the name of which I've forgotten, which is kind of embarrassing, but they have, so because they couldn't bring a class action, they are now, apparently they've sent hundreds and hundreds of individual letters from consumers with a list of demands, and if they don't respond within 26 days, which is the terms of Bethesda's contract, they will take them to arbitration on each and every single one of these cases. So hundreds of arbitration cases. Miglaccio and Rathod is the name of the law firm. They're calling it Armageddon.
I got a couple of questions about that. The first one is, I bought mine second hand for €10, so I guess I can't do anything. But the second one is that just Bethesda who does that? I mean, surely that's something that all gaming companies do, or do you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, how common is
I think it was particularly the case with this game.
Yeah, particularly this game was very bad, but it's true that many companies, and I think probably all game companies, have that clause in there, because arbitration is inevitably going to be in their favour. Pilgrim, you got any other news for us?
PlayStation 4 is, you know how sometimes you think, God, I wish I had more storage on my PlayStation 4, and then you search please give me more storage on PlayStation 4, and then you see there's a hard drive, and then you think, shit, is this going to work if I plug it into the PlayStation 4 or not? And you don't really know, and then in the end you just think, fuck it, it's not worth it. Now there's an officially licensed external storage coming to the PlayStation.
Sweet.
I think it always existed. No?
Well, I don't know. I remember looking for things and then
Yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah, they're increasing the
yeah, but wasn't it something like 2 terabytes or something ridiculous?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's what you need, though. I mean, Red Dead was 100 gig.
Yeah. I mean, it's true that I now have, you can have 4 games on your PS4 max, and then you have to kind of get rid of one. And
I'm always uninstalling.
Especially because I've got, what was it? You could get a 50 gig or 1 terabyte. Is that what it was when they first came out? I can't remember, but I got the lower option because I was like, as if I'm ever going to need the larger option.
Classic. Sure.
Classic. Every console generation, I do this. But while we're on the topic of PlayStation, apparently Sony they've registered a patent regarding backwards compatibility. So
yes.
Now the theory is that the PlayStation 5, which looks like it's coming closer and closer, will have backwards compatibility, at least to some extent. Yeah,
That's good.
This is all.
Did the PS4?
The PS4 has no backwards compatibility.
I also want to talk about Metro Exodus.
Yeah, tell us.
I don't know if you've been following it.
Oh, absolutely. We have.
Oh yeah.
Well, we've been talking about it. They decided to not distribute themselves through Steam.
Yeah. They've got exclusive.
They went for the Epic Games client.
Yes.
That's right. They sure did.
18 days ahead of release, they announced that.
Yep. So they said that the Steam pre-orders will still be honored, which is cool, but you can't get it on Steam anymore.
Yeah, but also all DLC you will be able to get, although you will only be able to get the DLC if you already own the game on Steam.
Right. Apparently, after a year, it's coming back on Steam as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 1-year exclusivity deal with Epic Games. I have to admit, I don't know. I mean, they must have just got some really sweet deal from Epic Games, because I guess Pilgrim, were you saying that Epic Games take less of a cut than Steam? Is that right? On the
Well, I mean that's one thing, which is the first thing they do is they take less of the
Considerably
distribution
less.
cut. But the big thing they've done in this instance is they've just, I mean, this is what folks are saying. I can't remember the source now, but basically they just gave like a sack load of cash to what are they called? A Deep Silver, the publishers of Metro, for the exclusivity. They just gave them a shitload of cash.
Interesting. That's not
to win them over.
That's not how that's meant to work.
No, so well, basically they made, like we were saying in the last week's podcast or whenever it was, that Epic made billions of dollars from Fortnite. So they've realised that ultimately that people will stop playing that, and they need to have established themselves. So what they're doing now is they're using that money to basically, I guess, subsidize their storefront and run at a loss. I mean, that's why they're giving away free games and now these exclusivity deals.
I mean, so
just to establish themselves.
So running their storefront at a loss almost certainly is illegal. I mean, that'll be covered by, I guess, antitrust laws, and I guess it's dumping in a way. But I guess what they are trying to do, I mean, people have been saying this a lot, and it sounds a bit sensationalized, but I guess they are really trying to now seriously compete with Steam. As you say, if they're worried that Fortnite's gonna die off a bit, they need to try and find something else. And Steam is just crazy profitable, so it makes sense for someone to try and take them on.
Yeah, but here's what annoys me about it. Like, on the one hand, I mean, of course, in a sort of very shallow way, it's just annoying to have different launches. It's the same like Ubisoft, Origin, developer specific or publisher specific. That's annoying. The actual idea in general about having a storefront competing with Steam isn't that bad, because Steam need the competition and it'll be good for the market. But I don't think Epic are competing by providing a good storefront that players want to use. They're competing by just subsidizing shit and claiming exclusivity. That's not a very user-friendly way of competing with Steam.
For sure. I mean, they don't even have user reviews, right?
I don't think they do.
No.
Because I think they wanted to avoid review bombing or something.
Yeah, which is
what I heard.
Really funny, because
review bombing. Yeah.
As a result, of course, of this move, now everyone's review bombing previous Metro games on Steam. It's just freaking ironic.
Pretty ironic.
Yeah.
One of the Metro devs came out and said if Exodus underperforms on PC sales, the next game won't be on PC.
Oh, I saw that. Such a fucking fit that guy had. Like, oh, okay, so you think it's annoying that we chose a big storefront? Well, guess next game is only for console.
Yeah, it's like...
It's like way to alienate your fan base. It's like basically what it was is it was the thing that EA did with Battlefield 5. They're like, oh, you don't like our game, then don't buy it. And then next week's headlines is like sales down 50%. Fuck.
But that actually, that brings me to another news topic. Speaking of PC and console exclusivity, Quantic Dream, the developer, they've done a whole load of games. They did what's the one called? Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain.
Oh yes, yeah.
All those ones. And then way back when they did a game that I fucking loved, Omicron. You guys ever play that? Nomad Soul. David Bowie did the soundtrack. It was amazing.
I haven't played it.
It was like, anyway, whatever. Quantic Dream, they've previously only done games for the PlayStation. They've been PlayStation exclusive. However, they have now just got a massive investment. We don't know exactly how much because it hasn't been fully disclosed, but it's understood to be, although it's a minority shareholding, they just got a massive investment from the Chinese company. What are they called? So they've got a massive investment from NetEase, which is a Chinese mega corporation.
Right. And
the sort of goal of this, or what they're hoping to do with this now, is to no longer be PlayStation exclusive. So essentially now they've got all this money, and aside from now hoping to release onto other consoles, they are also hoping to target the Asian market a lot more, because it turns out that Detroit Become Human was hugely popular in China, apparently.
Huh.
Wow.
Right.
NetEase are also the ones behind the Diablo Immortal.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
Because,
thought I
yeah.
recognized that name, and I a quick search, it's like, it is them. Blizzard's working
Yeah.
with NetEase, and they're making Diablo Immortal.
Yeah,
I mean, they're busy.
they're
They've got
busy.
a finger in a lot of pies.
Well, I mean, I think I mentioned, as you said, they invested 100 million last summer in Bungie,
Wow.
and surprise, surprise, just a few months later, Bungie leaves Activision, breaks their development contract early, takes Destiny with them.
I guess they had to pay a lot of that to Bungie.
I don't know that
to Activision.
supposedly the investment was so that they could develop non-Destiny games, but who knows? What was renegotiated later.
Not saying anything about mobile games.
Yeah, the next Destiny will be for Android and iPhone.
Can I ask a question now? Coming to go back a little bit on Epic Games, you said that they subsidize the games. So what I found now that as I was looking is that the game will cost $10 less than on Steam.
Really?
Is that what you mean subsidize? Yeah, they AAA release for $50. That's something that many people are going to look at.
I think I saw that actually. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they're doing lots of different things. The first is that they're taking a smaller cut than Steam, and it's
So they can
something
sell the
like
game for
8
less.
or 12% less that they take than Steam take, like as in percent units, not like
Yes.
12% less than Steam. So it's a big difference. The other thing that they do, though, I think, is that they swallow up, or that like they accept a smaller profit to compete with Steam. And that's what I mean by subsidizing them. They don't need to worry about profit because they're sitting on that like fucking treasure chest from Fortnite with billions of dollars in it. So it's no stress to them if they run at a very small margin in the beginning. Because I mean they want to get people over. That's why no one is doing anything with that's why basically no one wants to leave Steam because everyone's so comfortable there because they've got all the games.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
also has
exactly.
really good community features, and
It sure does.
Yeah, it's like once you reach a certain size, then
So-
you're gold, and that's what they're trying to do.
So you're telling me that the company that made Fortnite well, it's not to say plagiarizing, but like sort of, PUBG.
Yeah, ripping
Yeah.
off.
Now
PUBG.
is ripping off like Steam. It's
Well,
like,
yeah.
Is it? I mean, is that their modus operandi? Then it's like,
Well,
we will do whatever is catchy. Like,
so yeah, I mean that's
redo.
true. But originally, of course, they're behind the Unreal Engine. So
yeah,
they are.
yeah, they're the
yeah,
people
they
who
made the Unreal games
Engine.
as well.
Yeah, Unreal
Oh,
Tournament and Unreal
Really?
whatever.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, they get points. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I mean,
Unreal
obviously,
Tournament was good, man.
it was good, but it was how old is Unreal Tournament now?
It's been a
I
while
think.
since they pumped up
It was
this game, but I
many
think I
years
saw
ago,
that
yeah.
they're working on it or something now.
And was it like a clone of Doom or something?
It was a clone of Quake. You know what?
Yeah.
It was a
clone
clone of Quake. Yes, it was.
Yikes!
Hey, well, this month we're doing a kind of what do you call it? Like fantasy Metacritic, where we've been predicting the scores of released games coming out in the Critical Mess. And I can say that the first game on our list was Genesis Alpha 1, which was actually released at the end of last month.
Okay, I feel like we need a music cue. I'm going to work on a music cue for this. This should be a segment.
Oh, yeah, this is excellent. It could be a segment, and
Yeah.
I like that. We can make a graphic and everything.
Okay, so how did we do on our fantasy Metacritics?
Fantasy Metacritic! Well,
Nice.
so far, Doodle and Sleeve Monkey are doing very well.
Okay.
Whereas G-Man and Pilgrim are not doing very well.
What was
like,
the?
How bad are we? How badly are we doing?
Well, if I recall correctly, and I'm going to bring it up now real quick in the background, Sleeve and Doodle were, I think, 1 and maybe 2 points off. Yeah, you were both
Really?
2 points off your predictions.
Amazing.
What was it?
So, Genesis Alpha 1, for the PC release, Doodle and G-Man made a prediction. Doodle predicted a 77 score, G-Man 85. It scored 75. And this was the score 3 days after release, so that's what we took. So the reviews have a chance to come in. So that means that Doodle was 2 off, G-Man was 10 off.
That's not really
Right.
surprising, right? I don't know.
Well, I think it was surprising to G-Man.
So what I mean to say is that's not. I don't think we necessarily need to see that as an indication that the game isn't good. I think
But
that's
70 is above 7 is fine for me.
Yeah,
it got 75.
I know almost nothing about any of the games you sent me. I didn't do any research. I guessed entirely on how much I had heard the name.
All right, well, that might prove to be a solid tactic. And for the PS4 port, Sleeve guessed it was going to get 75. Pilgrim guessed it was going to be 78, and it actually scored a 73.
73, wow! So the PS4 port was.
Yeah, but I mean, it looked to be like a game that wasn't going to do well on a PS. You know? It looks more like a PC game.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of what I was trying to say as well. It looks like a game not that's not going to be popular, not that's not going to do well, but that's perhaps not going to be a critic favorite. Is what I mean.
Yeah,
that was what I meant when I said it's not surprising.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me a little bit of, weirdly, is Mountain Blade, because it looks like a game that's going to be this awesome fun sandbox, and I guess we'll have loads of mods and stuff for it, like the Steam Workshop and whatnot. But that, critically, it's not going to be very acclaimed, or at least there'll be a discrepancy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Mountain Blade probably didn't do very well critically. I don't know what its Metacritic score was, but that's probably also because it's kind of hot trash, really.
Oh, no! Well, no,
I love that game. I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours playing that game, and I can't wait for the next one. But let's be real here. I mean, that game is hot trash.
That's savage, man.
It's true.
I'm with Ryan. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah. I can tell you...
You have to suspend disbelief. I don't know how you call it.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
But this is what I mean. So that game, it scored a 72, the first Mountain Blade on Metacritic, which is quite a weak score. But
that's not Warband. Is that the first one? Not Warband.
This is the first one, 72.
That was even worse.
Warband got 78 because of the multiplayer component.
That's wow.
But still,
that's
72. But that's what I mean. That game is actually really, really fun. You just have to treat it like a sandbox, and I think that's. I mean, I haven't played Genesis yet, but I think that's the same kind of feel. It's more of a kind of experimental sandbox, showing off some new innovative mechanics.
All right, I got one piece of news before we move into talking about Anthem, which is what we've been doing yesterday, just playing the Anthem demo. So this is really hot off the press because it was just literally discussed over the weekend. Did any of you play Titanfall?
No. I did play Titanfall.
Titanfall 2. Yeah, so there's rumors, hot rumors, because I think it's literally this was kind of hot off the press yesterday, and everyone's been talking about it. It seems that there's going to be a new game set in the Titanfall world. It's going to be free to play, and it's going to be battle royale. And guess what? It's probably going to be released on Monday, which is tomorrow.
No.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's like a ninja release.
That is a ninja release, and the reason we know. So I think it's Electronic Arts and somebody else. I can't remember. It's Respawn, isn't it?
I can't remember who made Titanfall.
I think Respawn made it. Yeah. It's
okay.
Respawn. So Respawn and EA, of course, doing this.
Right.
And what happened was supposedly they invited a whole load of Twitch streamers and professional esport players to their headquarters to play games, and then obviously it just leaked that they are basically the game has been played by all these professional gamers. They've all said it's quite good. They're looking forward to it, and apparently it's likely to be released on Monday. That's the
wow.
Yeah, Monday, February 4th.
That's outrageous! Out of nowhere.
Yeah, I personally don't know of any other kind of stealth release like that, and I don't know why. I guess maybe not to compete with Anthem. I don't know.
Is it a whole new game, or is it just like a different game mode for the?
Well, no. Supposedly, it's a whole new game. So it's not It's not a sequel to Titanfall. It's just set in the Titanfall universe. I don't know anything about Titanfall, so that doesn't really mean much to me. But it's a whole new game. I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's just that they haven't built something from the ground up.
So Titanfall, I think it's a good game. I didn't play it for very long, but. It has these interesting features, like with after you kill a few people, you get points and you call in your Titan, and then as the battle progresses, like everybody's in a Titan, and they are fighting it out, and you have all these different classes of Titans. The gameplay with the guns looks very much like, I would say, like a Call of Duty sort of like thing. Yeah. But then you also have parkour, like you climb on walls, you wall run. Things like that, and it's quite interesting. But of course, you die in like a millisecond. You know, and it's all about reflexes. But when you get in the Titan, then it's kind of interesting when you're in the Titan. There's a lot of tactics you can do also. It's nice.
And my buddy was super into Titanfall 2 as well.
It seems like it was a real kind of player's favourite, and a lot of people could say it's very underrated.
I would call it underrated, especially when like bland shooters, you know, where you just run from like a corridor and like try to kill another 2 people before you die.
Well, I was going to say something about that because I seem to remember somewhere reading that Titanfall 2, despite being a really good game, basically died the multiplayer death of not having a big enough player base because it released, I think, sandwiched between a Battlefield and a Call of Duty. I can't remember exactly which ones. I think it was between Battlefield 1 and Infinite Warfare. And that those 2 games basically bled it of its player base because, you know, you can't... Yeah, and that's why it got marginalised, because otherwise it was a really, really good game.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's also pretty weird, because isn't it EA that did Titanfall 2?
You're right. It was published by EA, yes.
Because it's like, why don't you pace your releases properly?
And
that's a good point.
Is it Respawn? Aren't they the ones working on the new Star Wars Jedi game that hasn't been cancelled?
Yes, that's where I recognise the name from.
And is that the one where like they announced it with this guy just sitting in the audience like, we're making a game. Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, the E3, it was so fucking weird. Like, you know, black screen with the like, Star Wars thing. It was just
like dude in a t-shirt, like, oh yeah, we're doing that, yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. Man, that was so cringy with the interviewer as well, because she was, can you remember that? Oh my god.
I do.
It was such a fucking train wreck.
This is why Sony doesn't go to E3 anymore.
You know what? I actually think that's a shame. Is it Sony that pulled out?
Yeah, Sony pulled out. They're going to go to their own Sony con or whatever.
Yeah, we'll make our own con.
We can have our own party.
With beer and hookers.
At some point we should discuss what could EA do to redeem itself to the eyes of everyone.
Do you know what I was literally thinking about that today as well, because I was thinking. So perhaps this is in the context of Anthem, which we all played yesterday. But I was literally thinking, you know, what's the first thing you can say? Well, obviously it's fuck EA, but saying fuck EA is like saying, oh, it's annoying when you get caught in the rain. You know, it's like it's obvious. It's, you know, there's nothing new.
They just need to stop continuously fucking every game with their label.
But you know, I mean, I agree to an extent, yeah. But as you can see, like as we will discuss later, I kind of like the games. Like, you know, you like Battlefield 5. I was convinced it would suck because of all this internet talk that was going on around it.
Yeah,
and I really liked it.
Yeah.
And
man. I also think that Battlefield 5 was actually a pretty solid Battlefield. I really enjoyed it way more than Battlefield 1.
I really enjoyed Battlefield 1.
So you know, this is a good context to come into Anthem from, actually, because it's,
right.
We look at the contents and the culture surrounding EA at this release. So they released, I mean, so of their very, very many and frequent and low points, the most recent one that they've been crawling away from was Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is maybe one of their worst low points, but in any case, after that, which they ruined with pay-to-win loot boxes and microtransaction-driven game design, they then dropped Battlefield 5. Is that the next game that they dropped?
Actually,
I guess. Anyway, and there's no loot boxes in that? Or am I wrong, G-Man?
It's cosmetics. There are cosmetics you can buy, but
in which game? Sorry,
in Battlefield 5.
Yeah, but there's not loot boxes. You buy the cosmetic outright in the Fortnite way, right?
But there is a very suspicious section in the outright that is like, I would just leave it here and go.
Just in case any boxes were to fit in here later.
Just in case you were to receive
boxes would go if we had any.
But no. So they've got the Fortnite model that we were discussing back when we were talking about microtransactions. That you don't buy a randomized box, you buy an actual skin or uniform or a color for your gun. And And also, the gameplay wasn't really driven around it in the same way Star Wars Battlefront 2 was. So, in a way, I think it was somewhat of a redemption, at least in my eyes, Battlefield 5.
Yeah,
for sure. But yes. So the thing is, also having played Battlefront 2, you played it also with me, didn't you?
Yes.
The game, okay, it was arcadey. I wasn't expecting something very deep,
Yeah.
But if it didn't have the progression system with the cards, and the ability to pay to, and also their cards were like the tier 3 cards did like double the damage.
Yes.
Like control yourselves, guys. I mean, I understand it. I understand if like you unlock it by playing, and you will eventually get it, but like.
But being able to buy that, yeah. But
yes,
it's also even if you can unlock it, that's just too strong a progression. Because then you're going to get if you didn't have which is what happened, of course. If you don't have the microtransactions, then you just got people who have been playing for hundreds of hours, just absolutely noob stomping everybody else, which is not fun for anybody.
It's awful. Stressful.
Yeah.
So Anthem, what did you guys think of Anthem? We played it now. We didn't play the VIP demo because call us crazy. We don't want to pay to beta test something. But we did play the open demo. What did you guys think?
So, given that backdrop we just gave, I came into it with a relatively open mind, thinking, I knew there was some sort of loot boxy thing going into it, maybe, or whatever. That's all shit's going to be. But the actual gameplay, I went into it thinking, actually, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was very atmospheric. Battlefield 5, I think, is pretty tight in gameplay. So I figured, let's give this a fair shot. And I can say that I really enjoyed my time playing Anthem, although I do see some flaws in it. That's my quick review.
Okay, that's your hot take.
Yeah.
I would like to say I agree with Pilgrim. It's just that, of course, it's a demo, and it has many issues. It was very buggy, and we desynced like a million times. But we have to judge the times that that it was good, and I think it was all right. Like it controlled nicely. It's one of the few games I actually managed to aim and shoot things with a controller.
Yes.
Somehow they,
Same.
So the aim assist. You said there is some aim assist. Is not that. It's not that pronounced, let's say, but you still can. Yeah. So I thought it was nicely made in that sense. Now we haven't had the chance to try all the different weapons, and some of them might need fixing, like the shotguns. They need to increase the rate of fire and stuff, things like that.
Yes.
It was tight.
But the thing is, so it's true what you say, it was just a demo and it had lots of issues, but the game is releasing literally in, 20 days? And how can the demo not? Because I know they're saying like, oh yeah, but this is build release version 0 whatever, and we're working on build release version 2.5 or whatever.
Yeah, but you have to imagine that they're going to make 50 people work on it for 20 hours a day on cocaine or something. So.
That would explain some of the user interface choices.
The voice acting.
Yes.
No, I think if they gave cocaine to the actors, it would be infinitely better. But I don't know. It's just to me, it's alarming that the demo, which is so close to the actual release, would be so glitchy that the server would have so many issues. We played for a couple of hours.
Not surprised.
Yeah, but it's surprising to me that we played for a couple of hours and literally had maybe 20 minutes without any kind of issue.
Yeah, but the demo servers are probably going to be fucking nothing compared to.
Well, you say that.
I would imagine
after the VIP demo, the game director came out and said these server issues are not because of our servers. We have enough servers. We've made sure to have enough. We're not retarded. And
Really?
he said something like, these are other glitches that we're going to work on and fix.
Oh, yikes. Okay, that's really bad.
The thing is...
Yeah, I don't know why he said it.
Yeah, just say that you forgot to turn on the big server. Sorry guys, when we turn that bad boy on, it's going to be fine.
If you want my opinion also, okay, if the game doesn't release very, fine. Just wait for a month. It will be fine then. It's if you really want to play. And you can buy it at a cheaper price also. Like,
yes.
Not every game should be bought at release, in my opinion. So
no, but I would say, though, that, I mean, just let's get specific. One of the problems we had. So, I know Doodle got an infinite sound glitch, which must have been extremely annoying.
Yeah, especially because it was my like burst pistol as well.
There were so many graphical glitches. Like when I wanted, like in that lobby area to go into my javelin, it was levitating about a meter up in the air, and I teleported up and climbed into the helmet.
Yeah, and the enemies disappearing as soon as you kill them.
Yeah, instead of you killing them, they just like warped out into a different plane of existence.
I saw several like mobs like walk through walls, like we were running, and then there was like a wall in front of them, and it just kept running in front of it and disappeared. Like
the clipping is terrible.
9 3/4 shit.
There were lots of points as well where I would be behind cover, like I was behind a rock. The enemy couldn't see me, I couldn't see him, but they could shoot me through the rock. So there was a whole host of issues.
And when the first time we played, I tried to click the map or the options button to resolve some problem we had, and they'd stopped working. Yes. I had to shut down the game and turn it back on. Also, when we did desync and one of us left the game, sometimes it warped us straight back into that server without asking us if we wanted to do so or not.
Yes,
and when everyone else had left in the meanwhile.
And our squad lineup became desynced because it said that you were in our squad, but then there was some other person in the squad, and it just...
shit! The squad management system was buggy as shit. Holy shit! So in the space of 1 minute, it told me. So it was me, Sleeve, and whatever the fuck Chrono Proc Janice's guy was called.
Yeah.
and then it was Pilgrim, and then Pilgrim disappeared. So then it was just us three, and then James P2019, whatever the fuck his name was, joined.
Sorry, we didn't play with you, James. By the way.
Yeah. So then I looked again, and that James guy was disappeared, and Pilgrim was back in the lobby. I closed it, looked again, Sleeve Monkey was gone, James and Pilgrim were in it. Then I closed it and looked again, and then James was in there, and Pilgrim had gone, and then it was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, it was so weird.
And this was all like me just like in the space of like 1 minute, maybe two.
It's like just we booted up the game, and then it's like, okay, let's play together. Send us an invite. Like, oh, the invite doesn't work. How do we actually? And then we just spent about 20 minutes trying to actually work out how to all get in the same lobby.
Yeah, it was so weird because Pilgrim had disconnected, but it said like he was still in the squad. But shit, man, I don't know.
I mean, it was weird, and of course
you know, bugs to fix.
But it's a good point. G-Man says that like in a way this game isn't released yet, and sometimes you have some post-release support, but it just seems like there were so many different things going on that, like Sleeve says, I predict this to either be a postponed launch or a hot mess on launch where people are just going to like lose their shit with the instability.
I mean,
it was okay for us. It was fucking free for us to play, but if I paid £70, I couldn't play my game. I'd be pretty pissed off.
I mean, I tried to play this morning and I got pissed off because I wanted to play again this morning to give it a fair try. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try Anthem again because we had fun in co-op, but I wanted to see what it was like on my own or with randoms. And then I started playing and I was like, oh, you know what, this is actually cool. And then instantly get game crashes, server disconnects, and you just like, well, fuck you, Anthem. Then okay, I won't play this game.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the microtransaction?
Right.
Leak?
Yeah. No, I think we've all seen that. Something like
we've all seen it,
something like $10 for a suit, $20 for a suit. I think.
So $20 per suit, $8 for like a paint type, whatever.
But I mean, don't buy it. It's like, I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, don't fucking buy it, like whatever. But then it's like, I have heard that this shit is cosmetic only. And if it stays like that,
they've also said that there will be nothing that's locked behind money only transactions. So with the points that you earn from missions, you will be able to buy everything supposedly.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that it's going to be balanced and that it's not going to be a grind
2 points
fest.
Per mission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe that another factor that they've taken into consideration with this game is that if they make it only PvE, which this one is in comparison to similar games like Warframe and Destiny 2 or whatnot, they can basically not have to worry about balancing as much when it comes to microtransactions.
That's true. They can make it pay to win.
Why not? Who minds if it's all PvE? Like, who cares? I mean, I do deep down, but I don't think most gamers are going to worry too much.
it comes across as this like pseudo MMO kind of game, right? It's a bit like Vermintide when we played, so you can have like a really high level character play with like lower level characters.
Yeah.
And then I guess if you have one guy who's fucking rigged out with pay to win guns and shit, it doesn't get so fun for everyone else. Maybe, I don't know.
Possibly, but maybe they can boost you. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, but then it basically becomes like a mobile game where it's like they always say like, oh yeah, you can pay $3 for this equipment, and then you buy it, and then you raise a little bit in rank. But then suddenly the guys above you have got better stuff. Like this recent game that came out.
It's also EA.
Yeah, Command & Conquer Generals that G-Man and I were trying on the mobile phone. Actually, they keep offering you like to buy new units, which you otherwise get through gameplay. So you could buy that and then raise your rank a little bit to the next tier. But as soon as you've done that, you're just going to bump into the people with the stuff above you, and then you have to repeat that process. So you're not even paying to win; you're just paying to progress more quickly, and then that might be the model they're going for here in Anthem if they do sell stuff that's weapons.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for any PvP at all, actually.
Oh, they might though. You don't know that.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
well, so let's
do PvP if they have pay to win stuff.
Yeah, so we played this yesterday, the four of us. We had a lot of fun. At least I did. We streamed it, so we'll have that stream up, I guess, on our site, hopefully soon. But, bugs aside, potential monetization aside, what did we actually think of the game? And perhaps, so I think what we wanted to talk about today as our kind of topic is the feel of a game, and how does a game feel, and what does that mean, and how does the feel of one game compare to another, and how do you achieve good feels? So what did you think of Anthem? How did it feel to you guys?
So I tweeted, I think yesterday, that the game to me, it didn't, like when you look at the trailers and stuff, you're in these huge heavy metal like killing machine monsters with big guns flying around, But when I was playing it, it didn't feel like I was a big heavy lump of metal, like a fucking tank with a jetpack on its back.
Yeah.
I felt just like a sprite with no weight, and my guns didn't feel like a big gun either. It just felt like a BB gun. You know what I mean? It didn't feel heavy.
And one of the things that struck me is how vulnerable I felt in that game. There was very little dynamics to the kind of shooting. It was either, okay, these guys aren't looking at me, I can come out from cover and just unload my BB gun on them. Or they're all shooting at me, and holy shit, my armor is down instantly and my health is down instantly. I have to go and hide, basically.
Yes, that's a good observation. It felt like either you would... in combat, you were either definitely going to win because they couldn't damage you fast enough, or you were definitely going to lose because there was like an elite turret or something that could destroy you in a couple of shots. Like.
Yeah.
But also, we were playing on hard difficulty. And we haven't had like really good equipment also. We haven't farmed the equipment.
That's true, but I think the difficulty level scale to your equipment level.
You think so?
Yeah, well, I seem to remember reading that.
Well, if that's the case, then hard difficulty really needs some fixing.
Well, it was hard.
But it became marginally unfun. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, definitely. But the thing is that considering that essentially you end up in a kind of killing field. As in, if you expose your robot dude, just everyone unloads on you with heat-seeking missiles and sniper rifle laser beams and stuff, and turrets that just unload on you. Considering that it's just a killing field like that, there's very little. They haven't done much to allow you to kind of take cover or avoid attacks or sort of dodge bullets.
Yeah, I mean, there's no cover play like in the game.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
That's true. Although I will say, and this is, I don't want to stray too much from this topic about the physicalization of the game and how it feels, but just as a reflection on the demo, I think it was a very weird design for them to say everyone has to play the one javelin in the beginning, this range or whatever. I mean, that's basically the experience everyone's going to have from the get-go. Because when I've looked at some footage on YouTube, there've been people in that thing called like a Colossus, whatever it's called, with a huge shield. Yeah, and that looks like, if you have a guy with that, then you start introducing mechanics like, your buddy can have a shield, pinning down people holding against fire, and you could be one of these other ones, maybe not the Ranger, maybe even that one that's called Storm or something that does all these like high DPS stuff. Yeah. And then you start getting those mechanics going. Yeah. But when everyone is just the same generic like middle ground class javelin, it seems, I don't know, like maybe we didn't get to experience.
We didn't get to experience that, but that's not our fault. I mean, I tried to today, but I just got kicked out of the server so many times. The game crashed so many times. I literally couldn't progress to the point where I could play this.
Yeah. But what I mean is, if we had logged in, when we played yesterday,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
And it would have said like, okay, these are the 4 javelins. Pick which one you want to try out. Go. Because it's not like that they've gated them. They're not hidden from the demo. You just don't have them from the start. The question is why, and that's a really weird decision for me.
Because it's a bad demo. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Because it would have been more fun if we had one different one each, and then we really could have seen all of the combos you can do and the different mechanics. Maybe given you guns with different status effects. We all just had the generic stock stuff that shoots bullets.
Sure. So, but we're moving away now from the kind of topic, which is the feel of the game. So, would you say that you say you didn't feel like a heavy mech fighter?
No.
Why?
No, I felt like I was made of plastic.
How would you identify why that was?
So if you take a recent game that was very good, Red Dead 2, one of the things I loved about that was the physicalization. When you're walking in a house, there's this sort of muffled noise that your footsteps sound heavy, and they synergize with the animation of your character to show, how heavy it is. When people pull themselves up on the horses in cutscenes or in gameplay, they don't just jump on. There's a real weight and momentum to their animation. In this game, I don't think that they'd spent a lot of time synergizing that animation design and with sounds and the feel, because you were just bouncing around like you were made of plastic.
Yeah, I agree with that. View. If you think about how they made the axe feel super heavy in God of War. They did a whole lot of shit with sound and God, I mean, there is so many things.
There was sound. There's also pausing
subconsciously.
There's pausing frames when you hit something. There's the kind of camera shake or the camera wobble when you throw things. And I think Doodle, you said this when we were playing. When you land or when you get shot out of the sky or whatever, it doesn't feel like you're heavy when you hit the ground.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you just land on a bit of fucking soil or sand or some shit.
Yeah, and Pilgrim, what you were saying
metal
about
sounds.
What you were saying about Red Dead is something which a lot of people I think dislike, but which I love, which is how heavy your character feels. So when you flick that analog controller, when you flick the joystick forward, it doesn't just suddenly sprint forward like it did in, say, if you remember the original Max Payne games, where it's constant movement. There's a kind of acceleration. It's like he's sort of moving.
You have a momentum.
Yeah, it has a momentum which needs to get going and which needs to stop. And I think that's part of what makes the feel of a game, and that's what was missing in this.
Yeah, man. Fuck. In this game, I'm thinking something now. You can press down. I think it's L3. And the dude starts sprinting forwards. Yeah. And you run up to someone and you press triangle to hit them with your whatever melee weapon you have. Why not physicalize that properly so that if you start sprinting and you get momentum, if you're some several ton robot, if you hit into... Yeah, you hit those enemies, plow through them, send them fucking flying. Make them explode into a red mist like a Doom or something. Make it a bit more... convey that weight that they want you to feel. Because it did do that.
Well, that's another really good point about the feel of the game, is that when you shot people, it didn't feel like they were being shot. It just felt like numbers. I was
just about to say that. Yeah, everyone felt like bullet sponges, and it didn't feel good. And I just didn't really feel good to shoot them because I felt like, oh fuck, I'm gonna be shooting this guy for fucking ages, getting through the shield. All right, fucking 2 minutes later, all right, cool, the shield's down. Now I can keep fucking holding down R2 and aiming at this guy, fucking waiting for him to die. Yeah. Oh fuck, my fucking shield's gone. I gotta hide and cover. Fuck Jesus. Yeah, it felt like a chore.
The way people react to being hit is a really big part of what makes the feel of a game.
For sure.
And if you shooting at somebody and he's literally he's not changing his action anyway, he's just running towards you, numbers are coming up to show you how much damage you've done to him, but other than that there's no kind of feedback. It just it feels
there's
flat.
No visual feedback.
It feels flat, the
other thing with the weak points. You go there, you let's say I threw explosives, the explosive bullet, 3 clips on the back of this, the shield bearers, the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
For the weak points did almost nothing.
Yeah.
It was what?
Yeah.
At least fall on one knee or something, for a minute, for like for 5 seconds.
And the only way you knew that you were actually hitting that weak point is because it like lit up, which is so cheap. Like for a game like that, as you say, you should go down on one knee or like some, it should explode a little bit or something so that you know that you're hitting the right spot. So the feel of it, I was just gonna say the feel of it was very stale. It didn't feel as fresh as some of the other aspects of the game.
Yeah, and that was not. I mean, that was the fact that it felt stale was reinforced by the stale sound to me, because the guns were all like pew 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 pew. There was no heavy sound noise. Like if you play Battlefield 5 and an explosion goes off near your head, there's this like booming noise, and then there's like a sort of a which actually shows you to come back to your senses. That would have been amazing in this if a rocket swooshes past you, explodes, and there's that deafening noise. It would have been amazing. But really, the sound was just very, very flat.
Yes. Yeah, the sound design in the game overall, I think, was actually pretty poor.
You're right.
Break it down and think about it.
In fact, now that you say that, it's just making me think. So I also when Anthem didn't work this morning, I loaded up God of War because I was thinking that's a game with a really good feel. So I'll just have a quick play through that to compare. And it made me think Anthem has this kind of mid-range of sound, and everything's very sort of similar. As you were saying, it's all like kind of pew pew pew, and the explosions don't feel very heavy. Whereas God of War has loads of kind of like these really heavy bass notes, which Anthem was lacking. And you're right that when you when you fire off on your jet, it doesn't feel like there's this rumble of like your jets, firing off. It's just like it just feels weak. It feels like a flicker.
It's just like swoosh.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
I mean, compare this with something like say Doom, the 2016 release.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so physicalized. Your momentum, your speed, the guns, and like you say, the sound range was very different. There were the booming ones. There was high notes. Yeah. There were like. Yeah, the pitch was it was nice.
The shrieks of the enemy with like the bass of the chainsaw, and then of course the music has this like heavy depth to it. But then also like the machine gun will have like a much higher register, whereas it
was just perfect.
The audio felt a little bit flat in the Anthem demo, I thought.
Yeah, but I mean maybe it's unfair comparing with Doom, which actually for me I think has the best sound design of any game I played. But if you look at even something like look at something like Warhammer Vermintide. That's a game we played the other week. In that, you're running through these hordes of like rat men, these Skaven, and against Chaos Warriors, and you're using swords or hammers to hit them. And something about, I think, like you said about God of War, Sleeve, the way that there's a little break in animation between each strike, does something to convey that what you're doing has a weight and a physical cost to it.
Yes.
And there was absolutely none of that in Anthem.
Yeah,
in the animation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think freezing frames is a big part of it. So when you hit someone, it doesn't. It kind of slows down to highlight the impact. This morning, when I played the Anthem demo, I had a lot of time to examine the falling from the sky animation because I rubber banded at that point. So I literally dropped out of the sky maybe 20 times over and over again.
Yes.
When you land, it doesn't have that kind of, you should have the superhero landing. You know that scene in Deadpool where it's like, you should have that super cool superhero landing where you like drop and then kind of it feels like everything freezes for a second and there's a shockwave. But instead, it just feels like I dropped my slipper on the floor. It's not.
Yeah. And in a PvE game, there's so much potential to do that without risking any sort of negative consequences for PvP gameplay.
Sure.
Like you say, why not have everything else slow down a little bit and like break what's happening or break animations if you land near them?
Yeah, or send enemies flying through the air, when you land near them, or when you smack one, send it flying. Where unlike now, where it just felt a bit, dull, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We were talking earlier about the cover fire and stuff, and we were saying like how kind of boring it feels to just like hold down R2 and aim at the guy who's like running or like walking slowly towards you, also shooting at you until they die.
Yeah.
And again, like that's probably also because there's no cover fire in the game, right? Because I'm thinking like with Mass Effect 3, like enemies also had shields in that game. Yeah. And then if you shot them too much, they'd like run behind cover, and then you'd have to like try and get the angle and stuff.
Yeah.
but there was just no cover. Yeah, no, it was just walk towards each other and like spray and pray.
Yeah, it made me think a bit of Red Dead Redemption 2, which I know we all kind of go horny for. But I just, one of the things I remember so well is when I first played that, and I came across some O'Driscolls in the wild, and when I shot at one with my revolver, there's like the screen shakes, there's recoil, and when he gets hit, his arm flings back so that he missed the shot at me, ended up shooting his horse, which then kicked his friend, which then like ran away, and just the weight of all of that felt so real.
Yeah.
And then when he was on the ground, kind of coming up, and I had to click back the hammer, and everything just felt so kind of heavy.
Even just in Anthem, even just a simple stagger mechanic. If you've got full shields and you take a missile to the face, and even if it doesn't harm you, just have your guy take a couple steps back and recoil from the impact.
Yeah.
Although I didn't experience that.
When I played this morning, I got stun locked a lot, which wasn't much fun. But yeah, when we played together, it's true that I didn't feel that. And I think also there was so many kind of particle effects and so many explosions and shield generators and so mmany kind of flashes that you didn't get a feel for what was actually happening. And sometimes there'd be an explosion which didn't harm you, and sometimes there'd be an explosion that did harm you. And you could kind of, I don't know, when you were flying,
you kind of like become less. I don't know really how you to phrase it, but like you become less sensitive to what's going on.
Yeah, it desensitizes you to the grandeur that should be the game.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, look, despite all this,
no, I was just to say because it feels a bit like we're rounding up, but I kind of wanted to like mention one other thing which I kind of thought about yesterday, and I briefly mentioned.
Yeah.
So I feel like Anthem is one of these games where it's like I said earlier, it's a kind of pseudo MMO. I don't know really what term to brand it, but it's kind of like you got like dungeons or whatever, like
looter shooter, I guess is the term that's emerging.
Right, so you could,
I like that.
Like with the one we did yesterday, I thought it was Sanctuary,
the Stronghold,
the map we were on, Stronghold, right? So I think that was like comparable to like a raid or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about like raids and MMOs and like what they kind of do to make them unique and stuff, well, this is something that this game doesn't really do, I feel. So for me, something that makes raids really good about WoW, and probably is, I think, the greatest thing about WoW is the raids, I would say. And what makes them so good is that like the boss fights are so intricate, and there's so many different mechanics you need to watch out for and you need to like adhere to, and everyone has their own role to play, and they all need to do their role perfectly and stuff. And everyone has different mechanics they need to complete, which is really, really fucking cool, I think, and it's super fun. But my problem with games like this, and I think I compared also Borderlands, because that's also kind of like a looter shooter, right?
Yeah.
Is that these games in there, like dungeons, raids, boss fights, whatever the fuck, there's like minimal mechanics. So like the one we were doing yesterday, we had to get like these light orbs or whatever and like retrieve them and put them on like this platform or whatever. While everyone's shooting at us. There's no real mechanics there, you know? It's
it's true when we played there wasn't, but I suspect when you start unlocking the other suits, and then you'll start to see how there's more interplay. So probably there'll be kind of one person who's faster, can fly for longer, who you'll send off to grab the balls. You'll have the heavy duty guys. I suspect their role will be to kind of fend off some of the elite troops to stop them taking out the rest of the team.
I'm just really skeptical that that's how it's actually going to go, because probably everyone's going to fucking play whatever the fuck they want, and then they're going to play it however the fuck they want, as long as they can get through the mission anyway. They probably will be able to, because I get the feeling this game
managed
to be that hard. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but to be fair, there were 2 or 3 difficulty levels above hard, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like what I'm talking about more is like mechanics that necessitate different roles, and I get the feeling like, sure, you can have these different roles, right? Maybe if Ilium, you were like a tank or some shit, you could be like on the front line, and then like I could be like the fucking guy running around kicking up the orbs and stuff. But it doesn't really feel like any fights necessitate the division of different roles or anything.
I
we
think
could have all been the same thing.
Well, in
harder
fairness,
and gone through, I think.
In fairness, our class could have any weapon, but the other javelins, I think, are restricted in their weapon choice. And while that's a small deviation in terms of mechanics, one thing that it does do is that there are actually, for each skill or ability, whatever you call it we have, we didn't even really see this, but some are marked as primers and some are marked as detonators.
Yeah, but that's just like a shallow mechanic, though.
No, but on top of that, there are a whole lot of different status effects. So if you do lock yourself into a class like the Colossus, and I think I've seen he can have like a flamer and like really big guns, but he can't have these, I don't know, snipers or whatever that give you smaller detonating abilities. You could have him as a tank who's setting everything up for interaction with other players. And I think that does create some depth to it, I think.
But basically my point is that like no game, it feels like a lot of games that have these kind of raids or dungeons or whatever, and I think Destiny 2 is also a bit like that. I haven't played it, but from what I've heard, it's just a bit bland, like bullet sponge mobs and bosses and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like they were bullet sponges for sure, and it didn't feel like, although it's true what Pilgrim was saying, that there's primers and exploders and different status effects and stuff, it still felt a lot like there were just people with massive, huge shield health and then huge health pools. There were some like big bosses you just have to unload
and it's
on.
like it's just more ways to deal damage. It's not like stuff you have to do right mechanically to I guess win the boss fight.
Well, one thing that I really missed was some kind of, we had the kind of final smash, as I called it, where you could shoot off all your heat-seeking missiles, but it was lacking. Yeah. It was lacking some kind of magic or kind of self-defense ability. I wanted to be able to kind of do some kind of shockwave or quickly kind of fly away and fly out of danger, and that felt like it was lacking. Speaking of the flying, by the way, the flying was very cool, but why have they limited it so much?
Oh, fuck me, that annoyed me so much. Yeah.
Maybe it's the starting areas that are like...
Maybe when you get a better suit, you get...
So, in one part of the game, I don't know, if you look at my gameplay, for instance, you will see, there was these guys on the floor, and these shield bearers or whatever, yeah? So there was like a platform that wasn't like accessible without flying. And that was like a thing, I could go up there. And then I had a vantage point to the weak spots. So maybe if we knew the levels a bit better, we could actually utilize it, much more.
Yeah. I think what Steve was talking about was also, though, that you have very little fuel.
Oh, the fuel.
So that you're very limited in what you can do. And if you get caught on fire, you immediately fall down or whatever.
Also, I don't know if it's my impression, but I think if you get shot while flying, you heat up faster. You overheat faster if somebody damages you as you're flying.
Yes.
But I'm not sure. This is just an observation.
Well, what I wanted to say was that despite all of these issues with the physicalization and sound and whatnot, design that we've been talking about, I know that at least G-Man and I really had a fun time playing this. Had a lot of fun. I think that...
I had a lot of fun too, for sure. I had a lot of fun.
But I think maybe the fun was more in the co-op than in the gameplay.
Yeah, unless, full disclosure here, I think for G-Man, Pilgrim, and me, this was the first time we played a freaking co-op game in like a month or whatever.
Even more.
No, in years.
Can I make a point that I just thought? Is like, so when they try to make... So you see that there is a huge market for shooters, yes? Yeah. That's a thing, yeah? They sell millions every year, even with yearly releases, and even cheat games,
Yeah.
So, and there is also a market for MMOs. So what I think is happening, I think they're trying to make shooters more and more MMO-like, with Destiny, let's say, and this kind of thing, the Anthem. But I'm not sure that the MMO feeling translates well in shooters. Yeah. And that's why I think we have this issue with the bullet sponges. I mean, the bosses, of course, might have mechanics, and, you have to dodge certain things and go there, or use a certain skill to block them. But I think that's the problem. Like, if we were like 4 guys playing, having 4 skills or something, and it being like a real MMO, like a fantasy MMO, I think we probably would enjoy it more in that sense. Like we would think, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's like a proper MMO. But then when you try to blend both, you have this problem.
Yeah,
I think, and then all the areas are like swarmed with enemies that you have to just throw a billion grenades at.
Yes.
Rather than actually do something skillful. Right.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what, in a way, that what Doodle was saying, that somehow the sort of mechanics you need in an MMO prevent you from doing the things that Sleeve was saying he liked in shooters, like rewarding you with, like, if you shoot a guy, have him react in a certain way in his animation, whatever. Because but when you make a game in an MMO setting, maybe it's difficult in terms of
recreate that feel.
Yeah. But, or just in form of performance to have so many characters reacting that way.
So basically, you make an average shooter and an average MMO, let's say, rather than a good shooter or a good MMO.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's. I think that's a good insight. That maybe part of what it is that's stopping the game from being good is that it's been given the context it has. Is that's what you were thinking, Hey Doodle?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I definitely feel like it can be done. I just feel like it isn't. So when we were playing yesterday, like my dude had, I think it was like 2 different types of grenades, and like a shield, right? But none of them did anything. Okay, so like grenade 1 like fucking deals damage in area, grenade 2 deals damage in area, and it's just fucking shit to help you. It doesn't make for a fun or like a fun rotation. Okay, so by rotation I mean like in WoW, for instance, you have like your fucking dude and you have like maybe 6 or 7 spells, and they all have different cooldowns and you need to use them in like ways that maximizes your damage output. But in this, it's just as soon as it comes off cooldown, just fucking use it. There's no.
Yeah, everyone has guns. There's no. Yeah, I think I see what you're saying, which is that in the sort of fantasy context of World of Warcraft, you can have all kinds of different types of damage and spells and power ups and effects and skills.
And like sure, like the bosses are like bullet sponges in that sense as well, but they don't feel like you're just holding down the fucking trigger, waiting for your grenade to come off cooldown so you can press R1 again.
Yeah.
Like I think I need to think about it a bit more exactly what it is, but like
it
feels more like you're skillfully getting off your rotation. I think in WoW, for instance.
That's definitely something we could talk about in another podcast for sure. But it's true also what you were saying, that the sort of it did feel a lot like, I don't know if you Pilgrim and G-Man agree, but it felt a lot like you were just kind of waiting for your real power to come off cooldown while you were just emptying your clips at them. That felt like kind of a big gameplay loop, was that?
Yeah, although in fairness, we haven't unlocked equipment which maybe introduces or diminishes that feeling. I mean, like, I understand what Doodle is saying, but perhaps I don't know what kind of equipment there is, but maybe there are some things, for example, a generator which you can throw, which creates an aura, like a force field around an enemy, which lowers its resistance to electricity. And then you might have a sniper rifle, which is electric or whatever. And then abilities that synergize with that. I mean, I don't know how far we got into the depth of the game because, like we were saying, the game kept crashing and we couldn't get very far.
Yeah.
So maybe there was more to discover. We just didn't get the chance. A bit of a shame.
So what I would maybe say then, to summarize this, is that Anthem, we thought it was cool. The game world is compelling. It was
extremely cool.
Extremely cool. The suits are freaking awesome. I mean, the most fun I think we had, at least G-Man and me, was customizing our suits.
That's for sure.
They're awesome. The flying around was very cool. When the 4 of us were like kind of like Iron Man, just all flying around, very cool. The gameplay, at least from what we experienced, was quite fun as co-op, but it was limited. We're a bit worried that it doesn't have the sort of kind of complexity or depth that we'd expect or hope for, especially Doodle as a kind of WoW fan. It's nowhere near as complex.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed by like the lack of complexity in like looter shooter games.
Right. So I think what we'd say is obviously fuck EA. Probably this is not a game that we would buy at launch. It's maybe something we get on sale, and also be wary of microtransactions, which are inevitable. And although they claim they're only going to be cosmetic, and that you can buy everything with this kind of in-game earned currency, we know that they have the power to change that, if they choose. So I would say maybe sit tight on this one, wait for it to come on sale, see how it performs at release. that sound about right to you guys?
I mean, I would
sounds
even
good.
say wait like for a while after release, because they might do the same scummy thing they did with Black Ops 4, where
Sure. They
insert
sneak in the microtransactions.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I think as well. That's what I agree with. But I think that it's a shame because for a game like this, it really needs to have a good launch and establish a big player base.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of people, and in particular after this demo, I think they've shot themselves in the foot. A lot of people are going to be feeling like us, like, fuck, it was fun, but I don't know if I'm going to get that on release. And if enough people think like that, then the game is not going to have this critical mass of players it needs to be the kind of social shooter it wants to be. So it's a shame.
I think that's a very real risk. But what may happen is that it then has this kind of second life if they lower the price, if they introduce some new mechanics, if they fix the stability. It might end up getting second life. Can I just one thing I wanted to do? Did you guys see that hilarious tweet that the EA team did about who can and can't play?
Yes,
oh my god! Yeah.
This was fucking hilarious.
No,
okay,
I must have missed this one.
well, I will read it to you because it's so fucking funny. Now, in order,
Right, I want it.
To be fair to EA, they did immediately after this retweet saying, "Sorry for the confusion. Everyone can play this demo." But this is what I'm going to read out the graph to you, okay? So you can see why they had to put this in a graph. And this is what has happened now for us. This is what life is with different launches and game versions. So this is a graph, and it says ways to play Anthem. If you have the standard pre-order for the PC, PS4, Xbox One, you can play the demo access on February 1. You can't play the early access on February 15th. You can't play the first trial on February 15th. You can play the full game. If you have the Legion of Dawn pre-order on PC, PS4 and Xbox One, you can play the demo access on February 1. You can't play the early access on February 15. You can't play the first trial on February 15. You can play the full game on February 22. If you have EA access on Xbox One, you can play the demo access. You can't play the early access. You can play the first trial. You can't play the full game. If you have the Origin access basis on PC, you can play the demo. You can't play the early access. You can play the first trial. You can't play the full game. If you have the Origin access premiere, last one. If you have the Origin access premiere on PC, you can play the demo access. You can play the early access. You can't play the first trial. You can play the full game.
But only for 10 hours.
No, that's the first trial.
That's so stupid.
Oh my god.
It's hilarious. It's like you need a freaking graph to work out if you can play the game or not. That's brilliant.
Well, with that, let's maybe thank our sponsors EA for this episode.
Yes.
EA and Anthem.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to get in touch or whatever, you can tweet us at Critical Mass Pod. You can also contact us on our website, thecriticalmass.com. Please do share this podcast with friends.
Tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet at us and share it with people if you want. That would be awesome. We also want to thank Hakun for letting us use his awesome music, which you'll hear very soon. That's Hakun, HAKKUUN, and you can check him out on SoundCloud. He's really cool. And I think that wraps it up for...
Well, also check us out on Instagram.
Oh yeah, check us out on Instagram. What's our Instagram?
We're doing it's Critical Mess Pod. We're doing Man Crush Mondays, Transformation Tuesdays, Woman Crush Wednesdays, Throwback Thursdays, and Flashback Fridays now. So
and on the weekends, we sleep.
I was trying to think. Yeah, sleep Saturdays and sleep Sundays. I don't know. Is there something for the weekends? I don't know. I've been looking into it.
Just regular posting. I guess
Just
it's like cute selfies. Selfie Saturday.
So cute. Might delete later. Yeah. All right.
Hashtag so cute.
Felt cute. Might delete later. All right. Well, we thought this podcast was cute, but we might delete it later. So we'll see. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.